He wasn't supposed to be here, not in the spotlight, not carrying a broken franchise, not rewriting expectations. Shedeur Sanders fell to the 5th round in a league that still judges potential by draft order. But when his chance came, he didn't flinch. Instead, he delivered one of the best rookie quarterback performances the league has seen all year. Against the Titans, he threw for 364 yards and 4 total touchdowns, commanding the game with the kind of confidence only honed through being doubted. This wasn't luck. This was a reckoning.
If you're into the real story and all the messy twists they don't show on highlight reels, go ahead and subscribe. And if you're sticking around to see how this Browns QB chaos plays out, you should definitely be subscribed.
Even in defeat, the Browns may have found the answer they've chased since the 90s. Sanders gave them more than hope, he gave them evidence. His performance demands organizational backing. Cam Ward may have the top pick label, but Shedeur earned something more valuable: trust. For Deion Sanders, it was validation. For Cleveland, it could be the start of a new era, if they choose to build it around a quarterback who's already done what no rookie before him ever has. Shedeur Sanders just made NFL history, and there's no walking that back. 364 passing yards. 3 touchdowns through the air. 1 on the ground. No rookie quarterback has done what he just did this season. Not the top picks. Not the so-called pro-ready guys. Not the ones who had all the pre-draft buzz. It was Shedeur, the 5th rounder people slept on, who just gave the league a performance that turned heads, silenced doubters, and completely flipped the script. And the best part? He did it for a team that's been starving for this exact kind of moment for 30 years. The Cleveland Browns didn't just need a good game. They needed a sign. A spark. Something, anything, that looked like stability under center. For decades, this franchise has been stuck in the same cycle. Draft a quarterback. Hope. Panic. Bench him. Repeat. Over and over. Different names. Same result. Then came Shedeur. No headlines. No hype machine. No expectations. Just a quiet 5th-round selection surrounded by skepticism and doubt. People said he only got drafted because of his name. That his production in college didn't translate. That he wasn't ready for the speed of the NFL. That he'd ride the bench for a year or two while real quarterbacks competed. And then, when the opportunity finally came, he put up the most complete, most dynamic rookie performance of the 2025 season. This isn't a hot take. It's a fact. And what makes it even more dramatic is the context. Shedeur wasn't just filling in against a weak defense. He was in a real game. With real pressure. On a struggling team. With limited support. Facing the number 1 overall pick, Cam Ward. The same Cam Ward who was expected to run away with the Rookie of the Year conversation. The one with all the resources. All the belief. All the momentum. And Shedeur completely outperformed him. While Ward looked shaky, overwhelmed, and off his game, Shedeur looked calm. Sure. In control. He didn't flinch under pressure. He didn't hesitate. He looked like he belonged. It was symbolic. The guy who got overlooked, doubted, and buried on draft boards, outperforming the guy who was supposed to be the next big thing. It's not just a good look for Shedeur, it's a bad look for every team that passed on him. Every scout that questioned his readiness. Every front office that assumed he wasn't a fit. Because now the tape doesn't lie. He showed up when it mattered. And it's not just about the stats. It's how he played. He moved with purpose. Threw with confidence. Ran when the lane was there. Never looked rushed. Never looked lost. He threw 3 touchdowns and ran 1 in, 29 yards on the ground that came from smart, efficient decision-making, not chaos. That kind of balance is rare for a rookie. Especially one drafted in the 5th round. And while the Browns still lost the game, because of defensive breakdowns and coaching failures, it didn't matter. Not in the big picture. The performance was bigger than the result. For the first time in years, Cleveland walked away from a loss with hope. Not false hope. Not desperation. Real, tangible, because this game wasn't just about proving Shedeur could compete. It was about proving he could lead. That he could be the future. That maybe, just maybe, the Browns have found the quarterback they've been chasing since the 90s. And that brings us to the next question. What now? Because the ball is in the Browns' court. They've seen what he can do. The players have seen it. The fans have seen it. The league has definitely seen it. Now it's about what they do with it. This is where teams screw it up. They wait. They hedge. They keep the competition open. They tell themselves one game isn't enough. And sure, one game doesn't make a career, but some games redefine one. This was one of those games. You don't throw for 364 yards and 4 total touchdowns as a rookie in a chaotic situation and walk away without reshaping your status. That's not just a breakout. That's a shift. That's a message to the coaching staff, the front office, and every analyst who thought he'd be holding a clipboard all year. He's not a project. And what's wild is how many people still can't process it. Because if you were sold on the narrative that Shedeur was a product of media hype or his dad's reputation, you're out of excuses now. The performance speaks for itself. Deion Sanders being in the stands? That just made the story more emotional. But it didn't make the story. The football did. Every throw. Every read. Every time he stepped up in the pocket or rolled out under control. That's what told the real story. And let's talk about the poise. Because that's what separates this performance from the usual rookie flash. It wasn't erratic. It wasn't unpredictable. It was controlled. Technically sound. Mentally tough. He looked like someone who knew exactly what he wanted to do on every play, and did it. You don't fake that. That's not coaching. That's not luck. That's the work paying off. And now, Cleveland is in a position they haven't been in for decades. They have a quarterback with real upside who's already producing. No need to speculate. No need to wait for development. No need to guess if he can handle the pressure. He already did. Against the odds. In a high-stakes game. In a historically unstable organization. So what do you do with that? You don't sit him. You don't sideline him until the right time. You don't bench the guy who just gave you the most competent, confident QB play your team has seen in years. You build around him. You start with Shedeur Sanders. Not just in the depth chart but in your franchise identity. And if the Browns are smart, they'll start now. Give him reps. Build trust. Let the team settle in behind a leader who's already proven he can carry the weight. Because if they don't, it's not just a missed opportunity, it's another entry in a long book of quarterback mistakes. This one doesn't need to end that way. He's done everything right. From handling the pre-draft disrespect, to staying ready, to delivering when it counted most. All he needs now is what every quarterback needs: support. From the locker room. From the play callers. From the franchise. Because if Cleveland gets this right, if they get it right, this performance won't just be a footnote in an otherwise bad season. It'll be the start of something they've needed for far too long. A real era of quarterback stability. The numbers were historic. The poise was obvious. The potential? Even bigger. Let us know what you saw. Was this the game that changes everything? Is Shedeur Sanders the guy Cleveland's been waiting for? Drop a comment and let it all out. Like if you think this is the beginning of something real. Share this with a Browns fan who's been through the worst of it. And subscribe, because Shedeur just made history and you'll want to be here for whatever comes next. There's no more pretending this was just a good outing. No more brushing it off as a rookie getting lucky against a soft secondary. That narrative's dead. Because what Shedeur Sanders did wasn't just statistically impressive, it was culturally disruptive. He didn't just play well. He challenged the system. Everything the league tells you about how quarterbacks are evaluated, groomed, and elevated, he turned that on its head. Draft order? Meaningless. Irrelevant. Exposure, resources, pedigree? He had none of that advantage. And yet, he was the most composed, productive quarterback on the field that week. Period. And when that happens in a league that lives and dies by narratives, you don't just get noticed. You shift the conversation entirely. This wasn't about potential anymore. This was about production. People love to say the NFL is a what have you done for me lately league. Okay, well, what Shedeur did lately was outplay the #1 pick, carry a franchise with no recent history of quarterback success, and drop the most efficient rookie performance of the year in his first real shot. That's not flashing. And the fact that it happened in Cleveland of all places makes it even more powerful. This franchise has never known what to do with quarterbacks. Since the original franchise reboot in 1999, the position has been cursed. No consistency. No stability. No vision. Just one false start after another. Quarterbacks come and go, and the team keeps looking for the next answer that never arrives. Until now. Shedeur didn't just give them hope, he gave them a reason to believe again. Because he didn't need the team to be perfect. He didn't need a top 10 defense to bail him out. He didn't need a dynamic running game or Pro Bowl wideouts to elevate him. He walked into a flawed system on a team with a poor record and elevated the entire offense on his back. He gave the fans something different. Not hype. Not smoke. But clarity. This is what it looks like when you finally get it right at quarterback. The throws were there. The reads were sharp. The mechanics were clean. He played smart, confident, efficient football, on a big stage with his father Deion Sanders watching from the stands. And that part? That was the emotional exclamation point. Because no matter how much criticism has followed the Sanders family through the media storm, whether it was college coverage, coaching critiques, or nepotism whispers, none of it mattered when Shedeur stepped onto that NFL field and backed it all up. That was a father watching his son do something that nobody thought he'd be allowed to do, take over the NFL spotlight on his own terms. That's bigger than football. That's legacy defining. But don't get it twisted. This isn't the end of the story. It's the start. What happens next is just as important as what just happened. Because now the pressure shifts to the Cleveland Browns. They have to decide whether they're ready to break their own cycle, or if they're going to fall back into old patterns. 2. You've seen this before. Young talent buried by bad coaching, hesitance, and front office politics. Quarterbacks getting thrown into unstable situations, then blamed when it all collapses around them. But Shedeur has already proven he's not like the others. He's not wide-eyed. He's not scared of the moment. He's not guessing out there. He's already performing like a leader, like a starter, like a guy you can build a real system around. So why wait? If the Browns believe in what they're seeing, and frankly, how could they not? They'll give him the job. Not for one more start. Not for evaluation. But as the foundation. They'll do what winning teams do when they find something real, lean into it. Give him the offseason with the starters. Let the playbook evolve around his style. Use the draft and free agency to reinforce the offensive. Get him weapons that match his tempo and arm talent. Give him what he needs to succeed, not 2 years from now but now. Because this is the turning point. And whether the Browns know it or not, the league already does. Other teams are watching. They saw the game. They saw the poise. And they definitely saw the contrast between Shedeur and Cam Ward. That wasn't just a rookie outperforming another rookie. That was a 5th-round pick exposing the flaws in how talent is evaluated and prioritized. Shedeur didn't beat Cam Ward on hype. He beat him on execution. In real time. Under pressure. With less support. And if you're still stuck on draft position, you missed the point. Because in the NFL, it's not about where you're picked. It's about what you do when the ball's in your hands. And when Shedeur had the ball, he delivered. He didn't throw erratically. He didn't force the game to slow down for him. He controlled the tempo. He read the defense. He played with a rhythm that most rookies don't find until their 2nd or 3rd season. So where do the Browns go from here? They stop looking. This is the guy. And if they do their part, if they develop him, protect him, build around him, this franchise could finally move into an era of actual stability. Because that's what Shedeur offers. Not flash. Not noise. But stability. Consistent, steady, high IQ quarterback play that makes everyone else's job easier. It's what teams beg for. It's what the Browns have spent decades chasing. And now it's standing right in front of them. You can feel it in the reaction online. Fans are waking up. Analysts are backtracking. Players are speaking up. There's no more brushing this off. One historic game. One shift in tone. One rookie quarterback proving that the moment isn't too big, it's just the right size. And if you're a Browns fan, you've earned the right to be cautious. You've been here before. But maybe, this time really is different. Because Shedeur Sanders didn't just look like a good quarterback. He looked like the future. The story of Shedeur Sanders isn't ending, it's unfolding. And if the Cleveland Browns know what's good for them, they'll stop treating this like a developmental phase, and start treating it like the defining moment it actually is. Because here's what no one's saying out loud yet, but everyone's thinking. This kid might have just saved the Browns. No, not the season. That's not the point. Not with their record. Not with the way the defense collapsed or the coaching staff failed to close out a winnable game. That's not on Shedeur. That's on the dysfunction that's been embedded in this franchise for years. What he did do, though, was offer something far more valuable in the long run. Hope grounded in reality. That's the kind of hope that doesn't come from wishful thinking or overhyping an off-season workout video. It comes from seeing results. From watching a rookie quarterback take the field and immediately show the kind of traits you can build an entire offense around. The kind of performance that makes you go, wait, this could actually work. And the timing? It couldn't be more critical. This franchise has been wandering through the quarterback wilderness for decades. Every fan knows the jersey. The infamous list of names taped over and over, one failed starter after another. The punchline of the league. The embodiment of maybe next year. Overhyped picks. Short leashes. Broken systems. No continuity. No patience. No results. But then a rookie, who wasn't even supposed to start this early, steps in, plays with the kind of calm and confidence that usually takes years to develop, and immediately looks like the best quarterback this team has had since, what? Bernie Kosar? That's not a fluke. That's not a feel-good moment. That's a warning shot to the league and a wake-up call to the Browns front office. Because if they mess this up, there's no fixing it later. They have to get this. The fact that Shedeur was able to put up a historic rookie stat line, 364 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, 1 rushing TD, in a losing effort actually makes the performance even more impressive. Because it wasn't just playing with a lead. It wasn't just racking up garbage time stats. He was fighting to keep them in the game. And if the defense had done anything right in the final quarter, we'd be talking about this as a win, not just a breakout. But maybe the loss made it better. Because it stripped the shine off everything else and forced people to look only at Shedeur. No distractions. No scoreboard bias. Just the film. Just the tape. Just the poise, the throws, the footwork, the awareness, the leadership. You can't argue with that. This wasn't some vanilla stat padding game where a rookie hit a couple of screens and let the run game do the heavy lifting. He was slinging it, throwing deep, finding tight windows, leading real, sustained drives. And when nothing else was working, when the defense gave up big plays and the coaching turned conservative, he still showed up. And let's talk about the pressure. Not just from the opposing defense, but from the moment itself. Because it's easy to forget that Shedeur wasn't just walking into an NFL game, he was walking into one as Deion Sanders' son. That's not a small shadow to step out from. That's a legacy. A microscope. Every move, every snap, every throw analyzed not just for what it means for him, but what it means for the Sanders name. And still Shedeur delivered. That's a different kind of pressure. And he didn't just survive it, he thrived in it. It takes a level of mental toughness most rookies don't have. Especially ones who had to sit on the sidelines while people debated if they were even NFL material. Especially ones who watched players taken before them get opportunities they weren't given. Especially ones who know that one bad game could be used as proof that the doubters were right. But Shedeur didn't flinch. That's the story here. That's the part people need to be talking about because the Browns? They've had talent before. But they've never had this kind of composure in a rookie. Never this kind of command so early. Never a guy who looked like he'd been running the offense for 3 years, when he's barely had 3 weeks with the first team. And now that he's shown it, now that he's proven it, it's time to back it up. This can't be treated like a nice surprise. It can't be viewed as a pleasant bump in an otherwise disappointing season. It has to be the start of something. The moment the Browns finally stop looking for the next guy and start building around the one they already have. No more quarterback competitions. No more talking about packages or snap counts or seeing what we have in other players. Shedeur Sanders has already shown you what you have. A quarterback with elite potential, real production, and the mental makeup to handle the weight of a franchise that hasn't gotten it right in decades. You don't wait on that. You build on that. Start planning the offense around him. Start giving him the reps. Let him work with the first team, the coaching staff, the playbook. Let him own the position. Because that's what he just earned. And let's not kid ourselves. If this exact performance had come from a first-round pick, we wouldn't even be having this conversation. The media would be dubbing him the next great quarterback. The team would be designing next year's playbook around him already. But because Shedeur went in the 5th round, there's this pause. This hesitation. This wait-and-see mindset. Forget that. Because all that matters in this league is what you do when you're on the field. And when Shedeur Sanders finally got on the field, he made history. So if you're still sitting there asking if it's too early to anoint him the future, you're asking the wrong question. It's not, is he ready? It's, are the Browns finally ready to stop overthinking and commit? That's what it's going to come down to. Because Shedeur already made his move. He already took the opportunity and ran with it, literally and figuratively. The next move? That's on the franchise. And they better not blow it. Let us know what you think. Is Shedeur Sanders the quarterback Cleveland has been waiting for? Should the Browns stop playing it safe and give him the reins now? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Hit that like button if you're done watching talent get wasted in bad systems. Share this with someone who still believes draft position is everything. And subscribe, because Shedeur Sanders might have just changed the future of the Browns, and you're going to want to be here for every snap from here on out. There's no putting this back in the box. Shedeur Sanders didn't just have a great game, he forced a reckoning in Cleveland. And the truth is, if the Browns aren't ready to respond, they might not deserve what they've stumbled into. Because what Shedeur gave this franchise, on that field, in that game, was more than just numbers on a stat sheet. It was leadership. It was execution. It was a total rejection of everything that's defined Browns quarterbacks for the last 3 decades. No panic. No deer-in-headlights look. No unraveling under pressure. Just poise, accuracy, mobility, and absolute control of the offense. And yeah, it still ended in a loss. But the only people that should feel pressure after that game are the coaching staff and the front office. Because they weren't prepared. Shedeur was. He played like he belonged in the conversation, not just among rookie QBs but among starting NFL quarterbacks, period. So what are the Browns going to do with that? Are they going to give him the reins and actually start building something? Or are they going to second-guess themselves like they always do, overanalyzing, dragging out decisions, missing the obvious? Because let's be real, the only thing stopping Shedeur from becoming the face of the franchise is the franchise itself. He's already passed the test. He didn't just check boxes, he rewrote them. His game was a clear reminder that draft position doesn't determine value. Opportunity does. And when the Browns finally gave him one, he turned it into a moment no rookie quarterback has matched this season. That has to matter. And it should matter more than where he was picked or how raw he was labeled or what someone said on draft night. Because the field doesn't care about narratives. The defense doesn't play softer because you were picked in the 5th round. In the NFL, you either show up or you don't. And Shedeur? He showed up and delivered. The Browns now have something they haven't had in years, a reason to believe. Not because a coach made a speech. Not because of a big free agency signing. But because a young quarterback walked into a losing situation and played like it didn't scare him. That's the kind of guy you want under center. Not just for one game but for the future. And the truth is, Cleveland's future at quarterback has never looked this promising. Not since Kozar. Not since the jersey with all the scratched-off names started. Not since "maybe this is our guy" became a running joke every other season. This could be the moment it stops being funny. Because if the Browns handle this right, that list of quarterbacks, it ends with Shedeur. But they need to act like they believe that. That means making a decision, now. Not next season. Not after another QB battle. Not after another year of what-ifs and bad schemes. The answer is here. The question is whether they're bold enough to accept it. So let us know, has Shedeur Sanders earned the keys to the franchise? Should the Browns finally go all in on someone who's proven himself under pressure? Drop your take in the comments. Like if you're ready to see Cleveland stop searching. Share this with someone who needs to hear the truth about what just happened. And subscribe, because the Shedeur Sanders era might not be coming. It might already be here.